As usual, doing the I'm gonna go to the left opening from Super Metroid. I actually find that to be a really interesting thing because most games you go to the right for your progress, and in Super Metroid you have to start off by going to the left. Richman falling into that pit there, unfortunate. And it appears that I've been joined by my co-commentator for this race, Sacred Hooves. Welcome to the race. How are you today?
Not too bad, Poplars. Thank you very much. I do apologize. I might have a couple of extra commentators in the background. That would be my loving wife and my lovely daughter.
That is quite alright. So what do you think we'll find in the ceiling here?
Well, let's see here. We found Morph Ball in basic location. Thank you, Vanilla Metroid. Ceiling, we've seen a lot of different things show up here. A lot of good things, a lot of bad things, a lot of questionable things. Charge Beam, not a bad start.
Ooh. Charge Beam is definitely a good thing, though. Not one of those questionable items.
Yes, indeed. And missiles. Alright, so we got a basic arsenal going in here. Not a bad start. Alrighty, and our way out, power bombs. Alrighty, so we got a set of power bombs, set of missiles, morph ball, and charge beam to start. And in an interesting choice, Richmond is starting to go to the left past the morph ball wall and use the power bombs. But turns around. Alright.
I actually like that call there to check that miner.
And I really thought he was going to commit to that one. Like, I thought for once we were going to see someone go all the way left and just dive straight into Brinstar.
Do the meme route, huh?
I know, right? So below Mother Brain's tank, we got super missiles, so this opens up a lot more play, and in case they have to fight Bomb Chorizo for vanilla bombs, it's going to be an easy fight now.
Only 2 missiles, I believe. I'm sorry, 2 super missiles to kill the Bomb Chorizo, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely right. 2 supers gives you a quick victory. I mean, it's not as cheap as soft locked and Golden Chorizo into a corner, but...
So it doesn't really come up a whole lot in the randomizers, because typically you have supers by the time you get to Bomb Chorizo, and he doesn't always have bombs, but when he does, if you're playing 100% or vanilla, or even if you're there in a rando and you don't have supers, you can actually do kind of like a soft lock for the Bomb Chorizo himself. You can stun lock him in the corner if you're standing on a certain pixel. If you line Samus's shoulder up with that second kind of column there, you can keep Bomb Chorizo from A, hitting you, and always jumping back into the corner when he moves towards you.
Huh. Interesting fun tidbit. Yeah, an interesting list. He actually held high jump boots, so now there's the option to go straight up into Gauntlet if you want to, but you're very limited on power bombs, so you'd have to pray for either bombs or power bombs to be at the end there to get yourself back out. Or as we can see here with Lexa, she's going straight down the Terminator.
And with only 99 health, that is one heck of a risk for Gauntlet at that point.
Yes, indeed. And look, an energy tank. Nothing more blessing than this. Well, actually, there's a better blessing than that. It's called Plasma and Gravity Suit. We can see Lexa wasting 0 time here, wanting to get straight to Brinstar. Still has 5 supers and 3 power bombs. Is definitely going to check everything, including the Edacoons, maybe. Who knows? Maybe for once they'll find something useful. Power bombs. Oh, and Richmond opens up the door before the golden Cerejas, or excuse me, golden statues. Holy crow.
So that's an interesting call. It's something I used to do when I first started running the game. I don't know. I don't necessarily believe it saves any time, but and the validating of the run as I am in mid sentence.
Wow. GG, Brinstar. Once again, bringing us the classics.
And those extra power bombs that you were hoping for.
But yes,
She does
indeed.
decide to validate.
We have the validation of Spring Ball. Awesome item to have, especially where they only have, well, soon to have, equally 10 power bombs apiece. This gives them the ability to jump around to make sure we clear all the tight spots in the game.
And Lexa getting that incredibly difficult mock ball back out. It's one of those things that if you miss it, you have to go all the way up top, and you lose a couple seconds. It's not as much as you would think, but it is still a time loss.
Yeah, and we have seen before that a race can be decided in a matter of seconds, so when you have a chance to lose 2 seconds or gain 2 seconds, it matters, and we got a reserve tank here.
Richman also gets that mock ball out of the Brinstar Reserve.
Again, a very, very timed down thing, but a beautiful piece if you can pull it off. And we have more than 20 super missiles now. Almost more than 20 super missiles. We also have exactly 20.
With only having Charge Beam, though, I would feel like if they come across more supers, they would still want to pick them up, because while you can kill the bosses with Charge Beam, it's going to take you a while to get through Ridley with just Charge.
Oh, yes, indeed. Especially if you just got Charge Ice.
Hashtag low ice strats.
Yeah, hashtag 1K button presses. If you ever wanted to go on a diet and wanted to use your thumbs, Super Metroid recommendation.
Sloters, what happened in game 1 was that Lexa won, and Richman skipped checking the X-ray location on 2 different accounts, which missed him getting Varia.
Ouch.
So he was sans Varia for quite a long time.
And Lex here.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Lexa there, very nice job. Takes the moment to align and gets Spazer for her troubles. So now we get some DPS. Poplars, what's your thoughts?
I like Spazer. A lot of people hate on Spazer, and I get that. I do. But when you have no other beams and you find Spazer, you definitely don't want to turn your nose up at it. Plus, if they do end up having to do a suitless seed, and they do find ice, it can help for doing a suitless Meridia.
And we got an energy tank at charge, and we got regular missiles down at the bottom of Big Pink as we start to approach the descent to Red Tower.
Will they go up or down? I feel like they're both going to go down.
Well, I mean, here's the thing to think about. Again, they have the charge beam, and they now have Spazer. They could technically, if they wanted to, it'd be a very long and, hard-won battle, but you could find something useful in the wrecked ship. You could fight Phantoon, or, like you said, they could go down, they could venture into the little bits of Norfair, they could try to do the deep boost across to see what's, at X-Ray, because X-Ray has had some wonderful items before. There are so many wonderful points to where they could go at this point that the possibility is almost endless.
And we see Lexa going straight down. I don't believe we're going to see Richman go up to wreck ship. We saw speed there last run, which was extremely useful, but without it, unless you want to bank on speed being in wrecked ship, you're not going to be able to get to that reserve item. And if it turns out to be something like Varia, you're going to be upset for not having speed.
Alexa, wonderful pickup at Spazer here. We have the Ice Beam, so now we have decent DPS and the ability of Charge Ice. So Metroids are no longer a problem, and some bosses just became a little bit easier. So Popliz, if you're Lexa, what's your next move? Are you thinking Kraid? You thinking Norfair? What would you do?
I would go straight to Kraid because you're right here, there's no reason not to, and you have quick access to his E-Tank after killing him. Plus, he's a really easy boss to take down, there's no reason to not go to Kraid here.
And speaking of ease of access, Lexa just blowing away the barrier with, again, ease, just masterfully moving through that. Such beautiful access. It's amazing when people can pull off tricks so seamlessly. It's just so awesome to look at. That's why I enjoy watching these. How about you?
I definitely think there are some people out there that make this game look like a complete work of art, and then there's people like me that just... not so much.
I'm still 150 for any percent and almost 2 plus for 100, so I can't say anything.
I'm slowly getting there. I do have sub 1. Just recently learning Hundo. Was an interesting route to learn, but we'll see if Lexa decides to take Kraid to prom. Lexa having a little bit of trouble, and she does indeed decide to let Kraid put his dress on and go to prom with her.
And surprisingly, this prom's lasting a little bit longer than Lexa would probably like, missing a couple shots there, but gets the recovery on the second try around.
I think it was Cheaty Face who had said at one point that the problem with getting the stand-up glitch is that nobody knows how to fight Kraid if you don't get the quick kill. And I'm very inclined to agree with that.
Yes, indeed. I think some of us begin to lose what we were originally thinking when it comes to... Oh, and Richman, as we just talked about it, Kraid is now up for him, but looks like Kraid only needs 1 shot. Oh, maybe a couple shots. It would have been 1 super missile, but... And, oh, wow. Some extra resilience behind Kraid over here. There we go.
Richman telling Kraid that he's a nerd and needs to go sit back down. Prom is not for him.
Alright, so we had an energy tank in the freezer, and inside the fridge we find regular bombs. Nice.
That will be extremely useful. That will allow them to prevent some soft lock situations. However, with 10 power bombs, that's not really a huge risk to begin with. Although sometimes you can mismanage your ammo.
Oh, so true. But again, with Spring Ball and bombs, life is a little bit easier, and still having the power bombs is nice and useful, but again, just having all 3 makes you feel like a complete family.
So I've seen Richmond miss a couple of mock balls and gone straight into the Spring Ball. I think he keeps forgetting he has it, or he's just not used to the timing on the Spring Ball mock ball.
Yes, having Spring Ball does make it a little bit confusing when you are trying to do mock ball or speed ballings, as you'll just not think about it, because usually at this point you don't have Spring Ball, which is the one thing that's nice about a randomizer tournament. You can get anything at any given time, and it can either be a blessing or a forgotten item.
That is very true, and we see a lot of times runners will get speed late in the game, and a good item will have been at Waterway, and they just either forget about it or never get to it. We see Richmond turning off ice here, which is going to make this room before high jump a little bit faster on this Nova kill.
Indeed, just a little bit faster, but as we can see with almost in-sync high fives here, just how far and how far apart they are at the same time. It's mere seconds of difference, but it's just, again, those 7 seconds you have to wait to pick up the item, then keep going again. And just minute different changes that you make to your decisions last second. Again, Super Metroid has been grinded down to just pure precision, and that can be gone in 0.5 seconds.
And we see Lexa heading over to ice, both of them having to do a little bit of hell running at this point, but they do have 4 E-tanks, so it shouldn't be as big of an issue as it usually is. Let's find out what she gets.
Wave. And she takes. I would too. And
I like that call.
another thing to point out, if they really wanted to, the rooms where the speed booster blocks are, there's B-toms there. Lexa could go there and farm them to get up enough and do a crystal flash halfway through if there was some type of emergency. She does have the ammunition. They both do. And a nice mock ball.
And we see Lexa going back up, not wanting to do a hell run through Bubble Mountain into the wave item, it seems. She does have ice and bombs. We could see if she's comfortable checking X-ray here with the D-boost. If she does miss it, she can do an IBJ up to the item. Or she could just be going up to wrecked ship.
And Richman here must be psychic, because I think he's about to save, collect some power bombs, and I think he's actually going to attempt a hell run. I think this might be his thought process. Well, just to save. I stand corrected. We are farming.
And Lexa going up to the wrecked ship.
Oh yeah, wrecked ship's going to be so easy now. We have Ice Wave and Spazer plus charge. So we have enough to do optimal damage to Phantoon. We have enough missiles that we could do some Doppler strats. We have more than enough supers if we wanted to blow his face outright off. I mean, if we're willing to take punishment.
Richmond doing some farming of the Novas, trying to get that health up. I'm assuming he does want to do some hell runs. I don't know if he might be comfortable doing it on the 2 tanks, though, getting over to Bubble Mountain.
Well, in a good run, give or take, depending on the energy you have, and it looks like he might be in pursuit now, but ideally, you need about 399 energy and maybe reserve, just to be case, or 499 in reserve. Depends on your skill level and how comfortable you are with it. I've seen runners in Double Anti-Bingo almost a year ago that have attempted the hell run and would get just that 1 energy away from the door and fail just because it was just that tight, or they took too much damage, or the hell run just put so much pressure on their mind, listening to the energy drain out from their background. There's so many things that makes it so dangerous, but again, Bubble Mountain could have some of the most rewarding stuff out there. So again, do you really want to take that risk is the major question you have to ask yourself.
We see Lexa turned off Spazer, tells me that she's going to be doing some X Factor strats on Phantoon, and she does get an extra set of power bombs. So if she happens to muck it up, and I doubt she will have plenty of opportunities at this point to get X Factors.
Yes, indeed. Which, going in against Phantoon with having wave in this, if you're familiar with the X Factor strategy, it is the best way to do it. You're going to do so much damage. You can 2-round Phantoon and be on your way. And Lexa here is trying to do some sort of water works here, trying to make a water jump there.
I thought she was trying to spring ball jump for a second, but it looks like she's going to go reset the room and try for that CWJ again. Or she might even take the spring ball and bounce over.
And that's what I think she was trying to do. Ooh, the first time. Just barely missed it this time. Meanwhile, we have Richmond on the other screen, who has taken the risk, is mere energy away from problem, and just barely makes it out with 37 plus reserves to Bubble Mountain. Good job.
I don't know how much Richmond has in his... And Lexa getting over the moat very expertly there. I'm not quite sure how much Richmond has in his reserves at this point. However, I believe you typically want to have 65 to 70 to get up to the farm point here. I could be incorrect on that, as I don't do many hell runs, but that's what I believe I've seen most.
For maximum chances of survival, you probably want at least 99 energy to get up there, but for like bare minimum, chancing it and hoping you make it real good, about 65 to 75 energy is give or take optimal, just to make sure you actually get up there safely. We got Lexa, who has just entered the wreck ship. Meanwhile, we have Richmond, who's only had 19 in the tank. Wow, that would have been a bad situation. but has 76, is going to make the attempt up to the refarm.
And he is gonna go for it. And he gets up there and gets to farming, so we will eventually see what is at the speed item.
After a couple initial shots, is switching to the bomb and jump method to trap his prey, doing very well, getting a lot of large energy drops. Meanwhile, Lexa, the pressure is now mounting. Phantoon is appearing.
I actually do really like the X Factor strats on Phantoon. It's something I do myself. I don't do it well, but I do them. She is, however, going to do them a much different way than I would do them. And the way she does it always freaks me out when I attempt it, because I'm always afraid I'm gonna launch that X Factor early.
Richman, first troubles, finds Varia at the end of
Varia
taking the risk, and found super missiles up top. Meanwhile, Lexa's having a little bit of trouble because Phantoon's not exactly playing nice. Has been doing a lot of fast patterns.
That Varia find
Slow.
will definitely pay off for Richmond, especially with all the time he spent farming to get there. Lexa is going to have an extra boss down, but I believe Richmond will be able to make that time up and make it a much closer race again at this point.
Yes, indeed. This barring the fact that, you know, Speed Booster and Gravity Suit are at Rex Ship. If that does not happen, I mean, if that happens and that's not there, Richmond does have a very slight advantage here, having Varia, being able to continue down through the rest of Norfair without problems, and could possibly find Gravity down here too, so he could head straight to Ridley.
Well, we'll see what Rex Ship be. Ooh! And Richmond gets Gravity at the Wave Gate item. Wow, that is huge for him.
Lexa, you better have
Lexa
speed.
Not gonna find any suits at Rex Ship, but she does find X-Ray and turns her nose up at it.
You have Charge Beam. Could possibly find Plasma here too if you find speed and you turn up X-Ray. I question. But again,
going to Rex Ship early is definitely risky, and it can be a risk that pays off. However, you almost have to find speed in Rex Ship because of that reserve item. If it happens to be a suit, which we all know it won't, but if it did happen to be one, and Lexa doesn't obviously have speed, that would make me a little bit salty.
Just a touch. Alright, here we go. We open up the door.
And we'll see if he decides to...
E-Tank.
I apologize, I lost my train of thought mid-sentence, but Richmond doing the lava jump and getting up there very expertly.
And smartly choosing to save. This has been something that has killed runners in the past, not saving. This is where we like to remind you that a save, yes, while it takes almost 5 to 10 seconds, can save you about 15 minutes of hard work.
And with that save, I do believe he's going to go check the space jump item, and if it's nothing good, he can just easily reset the game. Start right back at that save point.
Yes, indeed. Checking Screw Attack will hopefully pay off with something nice. Who knows? I mean, we just found Gravity at Wave. Let's see how more generous Norfair can be. Nice.
And he gets the green gate glitch on the second try, on the second try. Second try, first try.
The second try. New record.
Yes.
It was your second try. Thank you. And we have found an E-Tank.
And he gives the reset.
I gotta say, only running around with 4 energy tanks, I understand having both suits, but personally, I would have took that E-tank with pleasure.
I think 4 is going to be enough for Richmond.
A nice
And
take.
Lexa finding an E-tank at the wreck ship reserve item. Absolutely nothing paying off for the wreck ship call, unfortunately for Lexa.
Indeed, she has 2 bosses down, but the wreck ship, as you just mentioned, Poppers, is not paying off any good dividends. We have to hope that after going through bowling, she finds something worth her troubles, other than the boss.
I think at this point, you're hoping to find speed at bowling, since you haven't found anything else. Space jump would be nice, as would be screw attack, but I personally would be hoping for speed here, because that can, obviously it's speed, it speeds you up, and that can help make up a little bit of ground.
Especially where there's the possibility that so much ground, for an unintentional reason, unintentional moment, just slipped away.
She is, however, let's not forget, 1 boss ahead of Richmond at this point and leaving wrecked ship. So while I will say she's behind a little bit, I do not believe it's nearly as much as we might think.
We'll never really know until after this item. And it's an E-tank. So that's still, wow.
Have we seen, do you know, all 4 reserves yet?
No, we have not. All 4 reserves have not completely come into play just yet, so that's still an option. The other thing is here, Richmond could very well, very, very well be on his way to getting Speed Booster from Ridley, which would put Lexa in quite the stranglehold, because with speed, he'd be able to fly through most up. There's a reserve.
And I believe I'm going to call the next one. I wanted to call that one, but I'm going to call the next one at Ridley. The last reserve tank, I'm going to say, is being held by Ridley.
Just for the troll, huh?
What does chat think? Where do you guys think the last reserve is at?
I honestly think it's going to be behind Dragon just for a ha-ha, and I think Speed's going to be down where Richmond is going, if just because to make things ever so much more harder. I mean, it wouldn't be impossible for Lexa to catch up completely. She could still do it, but just it would give Richmond, again, just for the risk of staying in Norfair, that extra push to continue. Because from here, he'd go up to Dragon and then go to Fantoon. So it'd literally be a race to see if Lexa can get back from the core of the planet to get to the other side of the core of the planet.
I am seeing a call for speed at Ridley. That, I think, would be a really, really interesting item at Ridley. Because at this point, with it being at Ridley, it doesn't necessarily help out as much as it could have for the runners. Sloters, I totally agree with you on that. I as well believe that Rich is going to skip the items in wrecked ship. There will be no need for him to check any of them when he gets there. We see Lexa trying to go for the X-ray room.
There we go.
The nice spring ball jump up there.
The unintentional grab. Running
Oh, no.
very low.
Oh no, oh no, with the death. Poor Lexa. I've seen X-ray room kill far too many runners in the past 3 days alone. To the point where I almost want to put out a PSA of friends don't let friends do X-ray without space jump.
That's a good slogan to live by, but the third thing for Lexa here is she did save on her return ship from wrecked ship, so she did not lose the progress of Fantoon going down, and is probably soon not going to forget the frustration of the fact that, yeah, she's still got 2 more major people to go and is still suitless, with Ridley now blowing up on Richmond's screen as we speak.
Well, She's got to be hoping for Varia here at the X-ray item. We all know she's not going to find it, unfortunately.
All right.
And
So
grapple being held at Ridley.
what are the chances Speed could be coming up here at X-ray, and this is what she's actually fighting for?
I think at this point she's definitely looking for Varia. I feel like if she had wanted to Hell Run earlier, she would have done so. Made the choice that Richman made to do a little bit of farming. So I definitely think she's looking for Varia here. And unfortunately, taking another death.
And it was an unkind death, too. An unceremonious double tap. Ow.
We'll see if she keeps going for it at this point, but if she thinks it's holding Varia, I think we'll see her make another attempt.
At this point, the smart play would be to write off losses and get into Norfair. Again, with the knowledge that we know Norfair is the smart play, but from Lex's standpoint, again, doesn't know where Richmond is, does not know if gravity has been found yet, because it was not in the wreck ship. Gravity could be there, Varia could be there, but we know they're not there. But with Lex's thought process, we're going in again. She's really hoping that the key thing she needs so she doesn't have to Hell Run is right there. Which, this would be very nice. If it was Speed Booster, she wouldn't necessarily have to Hell Run completely, but she would avoid the biggest section of it all, even with all the energy she has.
Lexa with another nice spring ball jump up there. She does have ice, so she could freeze that Weaver and spring ball jump off of that up to the top. But she gets the spring ball jump anyway. Let's see what she finds.
You know, I'm wondering if she remembered at this point that she had ice, or was just too committed to the jump, and it's the other trash
last
tank.
Nope tank.
Oh.
And with the reset, she does not want to make that reverse traversal.
Does not indeed. But now the pressure has officially just mounted on Lexa, with Richmond again, now climbing out through the lower depths of Norfair, is entering the main shafts of Norfair, still has to do Phantoon and Dragon, but as soon as Phantoon's done, wouldn't have to traverse the rest of the wreck ship for anything else unless he thought Plasma was there, which we know isn't. But
I think Plasma at that point for him would just be some icing on the cake for the items that he has now. Most definitely doesn't need it, but it does help make Mother Brain go that much faster.
Hey man, DPS is DPS. You gotta make do with what you get. I mean, even if you're stuck with just, ice and charge at Mother Brain and no supers.
So we'll be seeing Lexa go back down to lower Norfair here. To upper Norfair, my apologies, for her Hell Runs. That will be the right call. She will find Varia and Gravity as well.
What is Richmond up to?
He doesn't have speed, so he has to go through the upper route as opposed to through Frog Speedway.
That's right. I forgot about that. See? We're all forgetting things.
At this point, I feel like speed is going to be down a croc, in all honesty. And Lexa makes it through on her Hell Run. Good for her. She will find Varia up at speed and wisely taking the save.
Nope, looks like she's going to champion straight on. Like, at this point, I understand, yeah, she's lost a lot of time, and I understand, what she's trying to think about doing, just going straight through, but hold on. Yep, thinks about it, and takes the save.
And here I thought I had been debated.
I know, right? What I was gonna say is I think she was just gonna champion straight through because knows how little time she has left, does not know where, Richmond is. He could be hitting dot done any second. You just never know.
Oh no!
No.
She does have reserves though, and
Just
she
make it in
made it
time.
with 1 energy remaining anyway.
1 energy triggered her reserve and got a refill back to 100 life still. So she did not die. But the
Having
important...
that ice beam on, there she goes with the... So I was gonna say, having the ice beam on was slowing her farming down, and the bomb farming method is definitely the fastest way to farm up here.
I'm wondering if they've forgotten they have Spring Ball. Because they turned it on and off so many times. Run, Lexa. Run to your protection.
I think she's going to be relieved to find Varia, but at the same time, I think she's going to be kicking herself that she didn't do this earlier.
Or if no negativity to occur, more common thought would be, okay, where's gravity now? As you can see, Lexa unfortunately having to take a nice leisurely jaunt back through speed. Sadly with no speed.
Mookie, I was just about to mention that I think it would be kind of funny if she decided to go down to check on Crockemeyer for gravity. However, the play here would definitely be, I feel, to go to Wave Room first, and she's right here, so she will find it, but she could be thinking that Croc is holding it.
And dive straight down.
I got you baited.
And is continuing to dive straight down. I think I understand Lexa's process here. And if this is what she's thinking, this is where she's going with this. Let's go to Ridley. Ridley has gravity. I can do, I can do the lava dive. I can get to him. I'll be fine. After that, I get my gravity. I go take out the giant sea worm, fry him, fry his little buddy, the shrimp, and have a nice meal and call it a day.
I do believe she will check the wave item, though, on her escape from Lower Norfair.
One can only hope so, otherwise she's in for a very depressing and long suitless Meridia, and she does not have the luxury.
Like I say, getting the lava dive, first try, making it look easy.
That'll definitely make this process a lot quicker.
So what are we going to see here for Dragon? We don't have speed and we don't have X-ray, but we do have grapple beams. So I'm going to call for some fried shrimp here.
I'm thinking shrimp on the Barbie sounds real nice right about now.
Lexa having a little bit of trouble with the green gate glitch, but finally getting it.
And Richmond definitely getting grabbed, want to go for the grapple, could not get it right away, and is being punished for his problems.
Hanaless, yes, Lexi died a couple times trying to go over to X-ray, and she found the last reserve tank there.
There we go, Richmond finally making the attachment connection. Calling 100 Fry Me. Got the shrimp done. It would be really beneficial to check to see if speed could be at Dragon, if just to make getting out of here a whole lot easier. And is going to check, which is having some fun. And screw attack.
I wouldn't have picked that up either. I agree with that decision. So he's gonna have to either spring ball jump or do the grapple escape or that to get out of here.
Gravity jump.
I don't know how I forgot he had gravity.
Yeah, it's okay. We've forgotten we have spring ball. We've forgotten we have ice. It happens. You just get so into it that you just forget where everything was. It happens to the best of us. It's okay. I've had my moments. Richman here doing some wonderful deboosting, but is losing a lot of energy in the process. Must be very careful here. Has not saved since the death of Dragon.
Lexa getting out of the worst room in the game. That is a difficult wall jump to get that I don't think a lot of people give too much credit for, because we see runners just get it all the time on their way out of the worst room in the game, but it is definitely not an easy wall jump to get.
Definitely not an easy wall jump, and even with 799 energy to work with, one little mistake could drop that down to almost no 99.
Richman doing a little bit of farming on his trip up to wrecked ship.
Can't blame him. Want to be prepared, want to be ready. And is not even going to check the sand pits. I think he's just going to go straight to Fandoon.
At this point, that's exactly what I would do. I would go straight to Fantoon, because at this point he is definitely in go mode. He was in go mode back when he found gravity.
Oh, yes.
So there is, I don't believe, any real reason for him to go down and check the sand pit at this point. I think unless you're specifically looking for speed or plasma, or even space jump at this point, there's no need to go down there.
I mean, at this point, both players proving they don't really need space jump to get anything done, are just flying through the game. Richman here, going for gold, gets the jump and the stick. Can he get the dismount? Yes, he does.
And Richman again not giving any attention to the Sephi fish. Just...
I can't believe that became a thing.
that fish needs some love after Honk had killed it and Sephi froze and stepped on it. That fish needs some love.
Well, it could always be someone mean and just microwave the fish. Alright, all jokes aside to the fish, we have Lexa coming in, opens up the door to Ridley, and turns back for a little bit of farming. Meanwhile, Richman is on his way to the wrecked ship. I am still highly wondering where Speed Booster is, if just because I'm so used to seeing people rip across this game.
Well, at this point, it could either be at Shack Tool, it could be at Waterway, it could be at the Sand Pit, or it could be at Plasma. And we will definitely know once Richmond finishes and we get to see the credits.
Don't count Lex out just yet. There is a good chance she'll find what she needs at Wave to go into Meridia pretty flawlessly and come flying around the corner. But again, Richmond here just has to get past the ghost and get back in enough time, which is more than enough time for him to get away from Lexa to maintain his lead, but we will see what happens.
I would like to correct myself in saying speed at Waterway. That you have to have speed to get into Waterway, so I'm going to correct myself and say that speed would not be at Waterway.
Well, we were hoping for it at Dragon. It was Screw Attack. We were hoping it for Ridley, and we got... What did we get?
Dragon had Screw Attack.
Oh yeah, grappling. Now Lexa can fry the shrimp.
Sloters brings up a good point that you actually can, if you get the flash suit at Dragon and carry that all the way to Waterway, you can get into Waterway without having speed.
That is a long way to go without pressing one certain button.
Sloters dropping them knowledge bombs.
That'd be a very, very shaky walkover.
Hick 4, gravity was at the wave beam item.
Like, literally, as I was talking about the opportunity of gravity being in Norfair still, we walked into Wave with Richmond and we found gravity just sitting there laughing, saying, "What's up?" But yes, bar the unfortunate happening here right now for Richmond and the unfortunate event of dying somewhere along the way during this run, it definitely looks like we're going to be seeing a Game 3. Again, or some magical occurrence that just magically gets Lexa pretty much neck and neck towards the finish with him. Trying to dodge these key hunters is not exactly a fun time, especially when you don't have plasma, and especially when you don't have the extra resistance of the gravity suit. Taking almost 120 damage there, not a lot of love to get around with.
I have seen a lot of crazier things happen in Super Metroid. One of which being somebody in the tournament dying to Mother Brain because they had forgotten to turn Varia back on. So there are things that can happen to where Lexa could still win this. However, at this point, it is definitely in Richmond's favor.
Big question, is Richmond going to... Yep, he's going to pile on straight. I thought we were going to finally see someone check Gauntlet. I'm just curious as to what would be back there.
Lexa having to be extremely careful here with only the now 1 energy tank plus the extra 27. She's still going to have to be a little bit careful with the 3 Musketeers as well. Looks to be doing the got 'em strat. Gonna take a while to get him with Spazer and Ice compared to if she had had Plasma.
Doesn't really have much of a choice. If she had the ammunition, she could Crystal Flash and restore herself to full, but unfortunately is missing the ammunition to do that. Now has 47 left, just barely made it out alive there.
So we see Richmond enter Torian, shooting a Metroid with a green missile there, making it just bounce away harmlessly. Gotta freeze those Metroids. Oh, and Lexa missing the jump onto the platform. Without speed, is gonna be a little bit harder of a recovery to get back up there, but she makes it look easy nonetheless.
And catches the Ripper to save herself extra damage as Richmond is blowing through the Metroid Raiders on the 4th one. Lexa probably frustrated and thankful she just found gravity as Richmond dives into this ascent to the baby Metroid.
Lexa taking a little bit of damage there from those spikes, thankfully having Varia. And reducing the damage that those spikes do. And Richmond not getting the baby skip right there at the finish line. Unfortunately, he doesn't get it, and he as well looks to the right to see all those frames that he saved. Lexa finding a welcome E-tank here. With only having 50 energy, she happily takes that. Very interesting to see here how both of these runs more or less came down to routing, with Richmond having skipped the X-ray item 2 different times in the first race, and then Lexa just choosing not to do the Hell Run and having Varia be at the Speed Booster item. The routing choices have definitely played a major role in both of these races. Richmond easily getting through Mother Brain 1 and goes on to the next phase of the battle. Deciding to start off with those super missiles for the higher DPS. Switching over to Spazer. Just waiting for those catch-up beams so he can switch back to the supers. Getting a lot of orders of onion rings and french fries on the menu today. Oh, and Mother Brain with the unfortunate snipe on that french fry.
Alright, Richmond here, having to use, a combination of the charge beams put together, makes it into the catch-up phase, starts unloading supers.
And it looks like Lexa going for the gravity jump here. Oh,
yes!
And she grapples with a nice recovery.
That is what you call damn near perfect precision. Like, being able to time that just so good enough. Having a little trouble getting up on the second leg here, though.
She's gonna do another gravity jump. Tried to do the wall jump, which is an extremely hard wall jump to get, but she easily gets the gravity jump up onto the ledge.
Yes, indeed. Meanwhile, Richmond that's bowing down to the brain as the Metroid takes hold for dear life.
And let's get those baby thumps ready in chat, as the saddest moment in video game history is about to take place once again.
I don't mean to be that guy, but third most. Lexa here going for the freeze. Gets it.
White Mage Becky, Lexa decided to not do a Hell Run over to Speed, and Richmond did, and he found Varia, which put him way ahead, and then Lexa, after clearing Rex ship, decided to attempt Space Jumpless and Grappleless Gravity, or X-Ray, and died twice to that.
And meanwhile, as we mentioned, Richmond found... Sorry about that. He found Varia, and then afterwards found Gravity, so that gave him a very good edge into going down to defeat Ridley and begin his ascent to the wreck ship, and as you can see now, Mother Brain's inevitable destruction.
And as chat has noticed, we have a extra co-commentator of Sacred Hooves Child. Very welcome on the commentary.
Yeah, she's not happy there's going to be a Game 3. I am, though.
And And Richmond making his way out on the escape, having to go the long way because he doesn't have speed.
I really want to know where Speed Booster is now, just because.
As Lexa starts her shrimp fight, and I believe she is going to boil it, or fry it up, just like Richmond did.
Be the best way to serve it right now. And again, having to see this long escape because we don't have Speed Booster, taking away such an ample source of escape. We're gonna have to see a long climb up this shaft. Wow. And it begins. The ascent. Classic Metroid calling to be recognized today. And the shrimp is down.
And Lexa will find Screw Attack and decides not to pick it up. Once again, I agree with that decision.
Richmond putting a nice little hole on the animals, running right by, saying haha. Enters the ship, GG.
And it's looking like Lexa has actually forfeited from the race. And Richmond has finished with the SRL time of 56:31, which looks to also be an improvement on his personal best by 29 seconds. GG to Richmond, and Lexa ran a amazing race as well. So
Indeed.
we will be having match 3 directly after this. Give or take possibly a little bit of setup time, so do not randomize your channels, as Maniacal likes to say, because we will be having a game 3 right after this. I will be stepping out, and I believe Typewell will be taking over for me if I'm not mistaken. Let me make a quick check on that. Yes, indeed, Typewell, it looks like, will be taking over for me for game 3, so once again, GG to all the runners, GG to chat, GG to our tracker, Just Defend, and everyone give the runners a follow. Give our runners a follow, which are LexausaurusRex and Richman3mm. Give our tracker a follow, which is Just Defend, and give my co-commentator Sacred Hooves a follow as well, because it was a pleasure to commentate with him.
Oh, it's a pleasure to commentate with you, too. I really want to know where Speed Booster was. It's killing me.
And I'm actually going to stick around for a little bit to find out where Speed Booster was as well.
Exactly, you're just as curious. You can also follow my daughter. Yes, please, thank you. She appreciates the follows.
Sloters, that might be a little bit creepy. I think we need a soul creepy vote in chat for that one. And Hell to Pay just subscribing to Speed Gaming with Twitch Prime. Thank you so much for that subscription.
Yes, indeed. And yes, my daughter wants to know where it is too. We all do. Here we come with the shots fired stats. Here we go. Speed was... at Variasuit. No, that wasn't Speed Booster. There it is. Mama Turtle's room. Wow.
That is definitely a room I agree with having not checked that run. They had everything else they needed, and I guess Mama Turtle just wanted to guard that speed.
And confirmation that we also had Plasma at Gauntlet. So the first person that checked Gauntlet would have had a powerful advantage.
Alright, well thank you once again everybody for tuning in. Like I said, we have Game 3 coming up next. Once again, give our runners a follow. They definitely deserve it. Give our tracker a follow and give Sacred Hooves a follow. I will be taking my leave and Typo will be taking over. See you all next mission.